Hello! Hello! This is Lucy,
Hannah, Laura,
Sahara,
Ali,
Robin,
Kirsty,
Sam,
Mel, Helen.
We are at Hut 2 on the way to the Border Hotel, and you are listening to the Tea and Trails podcast! Yay!
Welcome and thanks for joining us for another episode of the Tea and Trails podcast, episode 97. Sensational intro from Hut 2 on the Pennine Way. I loved it. Yeah, thanks, ladies. I was wondering this. Do you think because we had some intros mid-race, do you think anybody would have the motivation and probably more importantly the ability to record an intro from Hut 2 during the actual spine race?
Challenge to you, Robin Cassidy, Lucy Gossage, Laura, Mel. How much do you love us? How much? If you record it, we will play it. Any boys out there? Simon Roberts, he's a big fan. Keep
those intros coming in, please. We've got one more, I think. Then the cupboard is bare.
It's just like my energy.
Breathe and believe, Edwina. Breathe and believe. Firstly, a big thank you to all our patrons. For the price of a cuppa, you can help keep the mics on and the lights hot. Many thanks to all our sensational partners too. Check them out over Patreon. They not only support the podcast, but they also provide a discount code. So it's almost like a little gift from them to you to say thank you for being awesome. Join any Patreon tier and pay annually and you'll receive 10% off your subscription. Also, pop over to Summit Crazy if you'd like to buy some awesome Tea and Trails merch. Got a bit of housekeeping. We've got some Patreon perks.
Patreon
updates.
Perks. Do it. Tell me.
Summits, and that's Summits with a Z. Yeah, brand new apparel brand. Currently, they're only selling caps and socks, but I'm sure more lines will be added soon. And listeners, all listeners actually, can receive 10% off with the code Tea and Trails. And if you're a Patreon, you can receive a whopping 20% off with the code. You've got to pop over to Patreon to see what that code is.
Oh, cheeky. I love it.
But yeah, check them out over at www.summitswithaz.co.uk. Also, Fawnside Farm Cottages, they've increased their discount to £50 off a stay over at Fawnside Farm Cottages, and they've also changed their discount code too. So yeah, check them out. Check out Patreon too. Thank you.
Thank you to our show sponsors, Precision Fuel and Hydration, XML, SHOKZ, Speedrun and Protein Rebel for sponsoring this week's show. We use their products week after week to help us train, hydrate and recover.
Patrons can get 15% off over Precision Fuel and Hydration. And if you are not a patron but would like to try Precision Fuel and Hydration, new customers get 15% off their first order with the code T24. Super simple in all caps, T24. And if you would like to try Protein Rebel, then use the code T15 for 15% off your first order too. Need a headphone upgrade? Then use the code T10 for £10 off over at UKSHOKZ.com. Thrilled to announce a new show sponsor.
I actually give my SHOKZ earphones to my little girl when she's having her breakfast in the morning because she likes listening to a story, and her brothers drive her mad because their main role early morning in life is to irritate her. So they just walk by and like smack her over the back of the head and stuff like that. She just goes in a little corner and has her breakfast in this happy way listening to the Rainbow Fairies, but she can still hear me going, brush your hair, get your shoes on. It has solved many things. The only thing is then she hands them back to me and it goes battery low. And I'm like, oh no, don't make me run with my own thoughts. No.
Terrible headphone admin. Did you see the socials, Precision Fuel and Hydration? It looked like an awesome day, their open event. I noticed too, they've got a heat chamber. Those guys down there, they're always moving forward. It's great to see. And Trish, our awesome coach, she speaks highly of the benefits of heat training. They've got a few services on offer: Heat Experience, Heat Acclimation and Heat Hero.
Oh, what's Heat Hero? I just go straight for that, even though I don't do well in heat and I do need to do my heat acclimatization. Just go straight into heat.
I wish they lived a bit further up north.
Ask them to move. Do you not have that sort of power?
Flex.
Links to all our sponsors and patrons can be found in the show notes and over at www.teaandtrails.com.
Who's going first?
You're really struggling with your words today. If you need to moisten a little,
I need to lick the lips.
The lips. Let's moisten up with a slurp of I'm on the tea.
You left us last week with a bit of reflection on your Winter 200. How was the week?
It was a tough week. With great adventure, Gary, comes great come down afterwards. Oh, I got many excuses of how it was a bit of a rubbish week. I came home, got home about 9 o'clock on the Sunday night, grovelled home with my Burger King, and then Bryn left at 3 o'clock in the morning to catch flight.
Oh.
Goodbye, Eddie. See you later. Good luck with all the kids. And then I had to get up at 5 to get everything ready. How can one family create so much washing that I literally pressed that ding, 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 ding button? I did about 6 loads every day. Like, it just kept coming out of every orifice. Like, what?
Yeah, that's non-stop.
It is non-stop. They have, and I think I'm doing this wrong, they've got laundry baskets in their room. So it's too easy for them. So they just chuck everything in the laundry basket. So if they just don't want to put it away because they know I'm going to come in and go, pick up your shoes, pick it.
Yeah.
And like, if I put it in the laundry basket, she'll wash it. She will wash it and it'll come back all folded and nice. And I don't need to bother with that. And I don't think I had channeled Bryn to where these baskets were. So he hadn't looked in the basket. So he'd put a wash on and thought, I am winning at life. The kids have got their uniform clean, but oh my gosh, the laundry. And of course, all my laundry as well of 3 days stinking bog laundry. You can't mix bog laundry with white shirts. Nope. I may have, and I learned that can't go into school. That needs a refresh. I also got like this sort of cold that just started in my eyeballs, and I just felt, I think it was a mixture of like extreme tiredness.
3 super big days. Wow.
3 super big days, but I lost
the
night of sleep the day before. Well, the way we started, I had to get up at 3. I lost that night of sleep. Traveling down really, and then 3 big days, and then traveling back up, and then just to catch up, everything. I just felt the mood. Well, because you see the real Eddie. Mood was low. Energy was low. Running was, I didn't run on Monday, and then Tuesday, and then you make the mistake and you see the other girls doing workouts.
Oh, don't.
I was like, I am so far off doing a workout here. On Tuesday, my toenails were so sore because I tried my trainer in a half size bigger for the Winter Downs 200, and it bashed. It will be great when I need a half a size bigger, but not when I don't. And it bashed my big toenails into a bloodied funeral parlor. It was terrible. So they were really sore. So I had to wear road shoes on the trails with Lindy on a harness, which makes a downhill like
fun times.
Sore quads. When you often ask me, is she trained? Yes, to that.
Yes. Amazing recall.
Amazing recall. So, yes, it was a tough start to the week. Anyway, so I always, don't make any big decisions after these tough weeks. You just got to breathe and believe, and know if you go to bed at 8 o'clock before your children, you're going to feel better. Felt better on Tuesday, felt even better on Wednesday. Did a little progressive sort of run on Wednesday, but with the dogs, to just like, come on, let's go a little bit faster and just see, and the legs definitely felt better. And then I dropped one dog home and took the other one to run a few quicker miles, who then came back and told the other dog that we'd been on a cruise to Barbados. I said, we didn't. We did a 5K loop of the fields. Yeah, we did a cruise to Barbados. It was incredible. Anyway, ground on with the help of calories. And also, this is another, I share my parenting hacks with you guys. Everything is a tray bake on these weeks when you're really tired. Anything that you can put on a tray and put in the oven is provided for meals, including for yourself. So we're looking at chips, fish fingers,
waffles,
anything. Basically anything pre-baked and then frozen. And then you just add your sprinkling of green, and nothing that needs chopped or peeled. So it's basically broccoli or peas. And that gets repeated on a cycle for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then, when you get the peeler out or you start mashing a bit of potato, things are looking up a little bit. I don't know why it tired me out. It just did so much, but I did start coming back to life. The cold never really immortalized into anything apart from annoyance and a bit of drippy nose. When your nose is so drippy and you're out running, you don't see very many people, and then occasionally you see someone and you haven't bothered wiping your nose for a long time, and it's proper disgusting. And then you have to surreptitiously, like before they actually close to you, wipe with your glove because you're like, this is so disgusting. I was at that that stage of the goal. Anyway, I was going to do my long run on Friday. No. I pushed it back and did a bit more of like a sort of tempo-y 10 miles on Friday.
Tempo 10.
Tempo 10. I could have, well, at the end of that, I thought, actually ended up being near on 12 miles because Taki can't do 12 miles anymore. So she did about 7 and then I dropped her back and then I did another loop. So it ended up being, I thought I could have just run on another loop and done it. That would have been my long run. I decided I was going to run to a rugby match on Saturday with my backpack on. I set off. I got up early. I unpacked the dishwasher. I did all the laundry. I laid all the breakfast. I wrote everybody little notes, mum guilt and all that. Got everything ready, all the sports bags ready. So I got up at 5. And then at 6:30, I thought that gives me 3 hours to get to the rugby. The little darling, Debbie Martin-Gonzalez, she heard me on the podcast saying I didn't have any Illuminous activewear and she was so worried about me. So she sent me this incredible...
What a star.
I know. It's like a sort of, Bryn calls it my Madonna crop top. It is a crop top and you zip it up, but it's reflective. So you can just wear it over anything, but it's not a layer. It's not bulky.
I've not got no insulated mitts, if anyone's listening.
If anyone's worried about Gary's hands. Anyway, it's amazing. So I popped this on. I packed my backpack with full Winter Downs 200 kit on the premise that I thought it's not that heavy because it's not spine kit. But actually, once you put everything in, which is 2 base layers, 400 calories, first aid kit,
a litre of water. That is...
A litre of water. Well, I'll have to take more because I'm on cruise, so it'll be 2 litres of water, all your snacks, 2 or 3, all your waterproofs, 3 layers I'll take, my fleece and my 2 mid layers, 3 pairs of gloves, a hat. Like, it's actually quite substantial. Poles... Again, so I put that on, was like, ooh, but I packed it in a hurry, Gary. Oh my gosh, the foolish virgin made a mistake. Lit myself up like a Christmas tree because you have to have a flashing red light. And I can't find my flashing red light. Little things when you move house go missing. And that flashing red light has gone somewhere, which I will find in about a year's time. So I had to buy another one. And with it came a green flashing light. So I had much amusement putting them both on to light myself up like a Christmas tree. So 6:30 came and I thought, now I can leave. I'm ready, 3 cups of tea, 2 pieces of toast, I'm ready to go. And thought, as I jogged down the drive, I messaged Bryn just to go, are you up? Like, you up? Time to get up. You got to get the kids ready. And he was like, I thought you'd be well on your way by now. You only just leaving. I was like, oh my goodness. He said, you're hobbling a bit. He was looking out the window as I was jogging down the road. I was like, this isn't doing my best. Oh God. Actually, my first mile was so slow. I don't know why. I think the weight of the pack, and I was like, not ready. Thinking I'd been up for ages. So I thought, I'm ready. I'm out this gun, 8-minute mile. Let's do this. Anyway, I hadn't packed the bag particularly well. So the weight was like sitting quite low. So then it bounced and it was a bit warmer. It was sort of just a 1-layer day. So I soon took off my overlayer and my back chaffing, Gary.
Oh no, back again with the chaffing. My goodness me.
It's so bad. I think it was one of the worst I've ever seen. It was like someone had driven over my back with a red, what's that thing when they steamroller? As I was running, I did think, oh, it's a bit sore. It's a bit sore. Anyway, I made it sensationally. I thought it was going to take me 3 hours. It took me 2 hours, 43 minutes. I smashed it. I didn't. The bag was heavier than I had to like put a little bit of effort to run up the hills at easy pace. The bag was just that little bit heavier than I would like. But I think as well, if I pack it better around the sides, then there's less weight on the back and I think it will feel better. So that's my job this week. But
well, it's good that you had the chaffing now instead of
harden it
during
off,
the race.
rubbed it raw. Anyway, I got to the rugby match with a good 15 minutes to spare, time to have my tea flask that I had prepared and put out, and it just had to be put. And then I had a little wet wipe in the loo. That's when I saw the back and went, oh my gosh. And then I'd forgotten all my clean underwear, and we were out then for the rest of the day. And when I fit in long runs with the family, I have to not complain. I know then for the rest of the day that I'm really tired because I never want to be told I can't. It doesn't work. That doesn't fit in because then you're too tired to manage the rest of the day. So I have to keep quite quiet that inside I'm dying. And so I had to arrive going, oh yeah, for fun. Yeah, it's good. That's fine. Oh, I haven't got any pants or a bra for the rest of the day in jeans and a like knitted wool top. It was so scratchy on my nipples. And so I just put my big coat over the top and I was like, oh, I'm just going to have to suck. And I managed to wash my face over the loo, but then I just did not. I was like, Bryn was right. We shouldn't mix this together because I do not feel good. Then I have to stand up for the next 2 hours watching sport thinking, I just want that post-match muffin. Just get it in my face. But I did actually feel fine on the run. 90 grams carbs an hour. Pretty happy with that. Smashed that.
Was it all precision?
It was all gels. And I do that because I just want to force myself into being able to take gels. And also because, frankly, at 6 o'clock in the morning when I hadn't made my bag up, that was so easy to just grab 3 of those gels. I'm working on increasing my fueling. I know exactly what I'm taking. And then also practicing just downing it. It's just like, can I take it? How's the best way to take it? So I don't think that will be it would definitely not be my fueling strategy of choice for the 200, but it's really good to be able to take one when you feel very weak and it's perhaps all you can get in. And so they'll be my backup. They'll be like once every 4 or 5 hours, I know I can just slurp that gel down. So anyway, the long run was done, 18 miles, not much climbing, but lots of running with the pack. And I did not feel sprightly, but I got it done and then spent the day with chaffed nipples and chaffed back, pretending that I was fine. It was no problem. Yes, let's go. Oh, yes, let's go to Curry's and look at the lamps. I would love to do that right now. I just
you get a bit cross. I get a bit ratty sometimes.
You must not get ratty, but oh my God, I just want to go home and eat chips. But it was all fine. And I'm treated with much kindness by my family who are very tolerant of these sort of things. Then the next day, hadn't done a workout all week. Gary, what do? We push our workout right to the end of the week till after the long run.
Ram it into the weekend.
Gary and Eddie, classic. I had this low-level cold. I could not find my heart rate monitor. Oh, a treadmill session without a heart rate monitor is just, to me, is absolute hell because I just want to stare at it because otherwise I'm going to be just staring at the screen. I just like to be able to focus on my heart rate. Couldn't find it, looked, thought, oh my God, if I don't get on this treadmill too, I'm going to run out of time. So I played the low level, get on the treadmill, whack it up to its highest inclination. My inclination was dangerously low. And actually I felt fine. I pushed out a pretty good, hard, long session, but just kept the breathing to controlled. And I knew I'd worked hard when I then had to drive the kids to their next sporting matches. And I couldn't quite lift my hip flexor to press the accelerator and brake without going, But it was about 3,000 foot, the climbing in the end of the session. So it's good, pleased that I hadn't done a lot of climbing that week. And it's my only strength is the grinding hills, Gary, the ability to run up a 10% gradient. So I have to keep working on that.
Right.
Working on the grind. So it wasn't a fantastic week in feelings, but it was an okay week. We ticked it off. These in-between weeks where you feel like I'm not really achieving anything. I've got to keep moving. I've got to keep training. And I feel like I just want to lie down on the sofa. That's where I am.
The little
You're
bricks
3
already.
or 4 weeks.
The little bricks
they're
on
little
the
bricks. So I had to do it. I had to do a workout and I had to do a long run. And so it was a case of and we all know that feeling. Let's just tick that box. Let's not think about it. Let's not look at the stats. Let's not worry about it. Let's just tick it off. We did it. We managed the day afterwards. Let's move on. Got a much more fun week this week. Oh, yeah. More of that later. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You are just incredible in every way, but how was your week?
I did manage the workout.
Oh, my God. Hold the phone,
20 minutes.
everybody. 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
That's just 15. A warm-up. That's just a warm-up. That's not
I did have my warm-up and cool down too. So 20 minutes of actually work at 15%. I just stuck it up to max. Low zone 4. And that it said on the workout, could be 20, 25 minutes in that effort, but 20 minutes was all I could manage, and I was begging.
Did you let it come up gradually, or did you just zoom it straight up and then just sit there holding on to your laptop?
I eased up. So it was always at 15%, but then I kind of cranked the pace up just until it got into that zone 4, and then I eased it off again because it was just kind of creeping up and up and up. So I just kept it. I can't remember what the actual numbers were, but just at that low zone 4. But I was begging for that 20 minutes to be off. It was really hard.
How do you cope with it mentally? Because I play the game of 5 minutes, right? So that's 1 minute and then 3 minutes and then a 1 minute, or 2 minutes and then a 1 minute.
Well, I had the 25 minutes. I was initially went in thinking it was 25 minutes, and then I basically made a deal myself. It was 20 minutes. And
you
then
gaslighted yourself all the way through, going, I'm just going to do 5. I'm just going to do 10. I'm going to do 15. I'm going to do 20.
Yeah. But 20, when I started asking serious questions, then it was the kind of countdown the last 10 minutes. And before you know it was, although I was looking at the clock, it did go down fast, but I had a Netflix error. I downloaded a program I'd already watched. So I was looking forward to watching, what's it called again? Titans. It's like my guilty pleasure. Nobody else enjoys it in the house. So I watch it on the treadmill down the gym. I'd already watched it. So sad times. But I was impressed with myself. Normally, after I've done a workout on the treadmill, the last thing on my mind is to then go and lift weights down the gym. I've had that on my mind quite a few times and basically left the gym straight after the workout. But this week, because if you're going to do 2 or 3 workouts a week, I had to make the hard day hard. I increased the weight slightly, jogged home afterwards. I felt pumped. I really enjoyed it. But my goodness me, I was absolutely
Did you remember
clean.
your clean underwear, or did you not shower at the gym? Oh no, you just jogged home, so you didn't have to chaff your nipples.
No, I did. So I did the session, then I went to the gym. I had a spare top. So technically I did do my 3 sessions for the week, and I know you postponed on my brutal ab. Did you try the brutal abs? You were putting it out there last week.
I know, I put all the chat. Didn't do it. I promise I will. I promise. Maybe we could do it together.
Oh, we could do like a
That's
live stream.
dream.
Teen Chills live stream. Brutal abs.
You in your crop top.
My red compression shorts. So I did 3 sessions, if you count the brutal abs as a strength session or not. 2 or 3. But I was mindful that, so I introduced the workout. I'm still flirting with going into the red on my heart rate variability. Ooh. It's in the green, just holding on. And I'm not too sure if I've heard this somewhere. I'm just basically didn't fancy doing the long run or what it is. But I didn't load too much onto that week because I did the workout. I think I probably did like 12 or 13 mile run at the weekend. So it wasn't like a really short run, but I didn't want to go out and do a 20-mile run on top of the workout when I'm not really feeling great. And also I've taken the foot off the pedal as far as any training for the end of the year. I'm literally I don't say jogging it in because people will look at my Strava and go, oh God, Gary's doing this and that. That's not exactly jogging it in, but taking the pressure off as far as the results concerned for Tour de Helvellyn. Just trying to manage it. One workout, then this week coming up, I'll try and do the long run and the workout and see how we go. You talk lots about your dogs and leaving one of them home. I'm going to have to, and I've wrestled with this quite a lot because I had 2 takeaways from the Lake 100. One was I neglected the second long run of the week or the back-to-back long run. If I reflect on the training, I'm pretty sure, I could improve on that. But the other takeaway was I did so much running with Rex. And the number at the end of the week, people will say, look at Strava and go, oh, Gary's done 80 miles a week, 90 miles a week. They were big numbers, but it was made up of lots of tiny 4 miles here, 3 miles there. So as a takeaway, I thought, walk Rex, do the running myself. The reality of that is I basically added 7 hours onto my week, 7-8 hours of dog walks on top of the running. And it's really, it's since I started running after Lake 100.
Did you hear Lindy?
No.
She was like, what?
Yes, Gary. So since Lake 100, I've really wrestled with having any balance with the life, the dog walking and the training. So although it's not ideal, Rex and I reunited.
I think Eddie do so much running with the dogs, which is not ideal because one's putting like a train, one's she's just come in, so I better whisper, but one is not in the first flush of youth. There's so much stopping, there's so much gate faffing. Like my lapse time for like an hour run is normally like 1 hour 25. So I could have probably come home and taken them for a walk. But also my dogs, I read this somewhere, they're athletes because I've always run with them. So for me to tire them out and for them to feel like they've had some exercise is probably like Rexy as well. It's like a 2-hour walk basically, or 2 walks a day. Whereas if I take them for like even just like 45-minute run, they feel their job's done and they will just sleep for the rest of the day and be peaceful. But the mental health of running with my dogs is, even though they're twats.
Well, I've had a chat with Rex. He's promised not to be a
no one's
promised not to be a
twat.
Yes. Drag me down the hills or chase the squirrels or the foxes.
Has he been to the deer? Has he been on his deer? What do we call it? Our deer friendly course. We've been on it, Mum. And but the joy I get of running with them. Look, they've come to say hi. The joy I get of running with them, sharing the trails with them and their company. I'm like, and then I'm like, who cares? Who's to tell me that actually these are not great miles and it's life. Like
it's the Wild West, isn't it? To a certain extent, ultra running still is. is the Wild West. But yeah, I wrestled with it. It was driving me mad for weeks. So end of July, Lake 100 probably started running with a bit more purpose after my holiday. So it's been a couple of months of just, struggling. Put my hands up. I've been struggling with it all.
Get that harness back on and start your runs uphill again.
Rick said to me, he's like, "Oh, Gary, should I do a northern or a southern?" Go, "I'll read Gary. I'll make a deal." I can't even do it. He's going to make a deal with me. I can't do.
Go on, keep going. Please keep going in his voice.
Right, Gary, I'll make a deal with you. I'm going to be a total twat.
I'll make a deal with you. I won't get off like a steam train and drag you down and go crazy every time I see a squirrel or a deer. As long as you, and I mean immediately, make me a slice of white crunchy toast with lashings of butter when I get home. That's exactly what Rick said.
Yeah, and he's totally ignored that the minute he goes out and goes.
We saw a fox. And I was in wonder. I was like, my goodness me, don't see a fox very. In the Dean, we're lucky we see deers quite often. I still really enjoy seeing a deer, but to see a fox, that was a real treat.
No, we don't see a lot of foxes. We saw 12 deer on our run today. Yeah. And if I don't see, I know they're there because the dogs start going, and then I have to brace the core for impact. Yeah. Take the load, Eddie, take the load. And go, no, remember, deers are our friends. You got to do what you got to do with the miles. You got to do what works for you, and don't beat yourself up about it. Life's too short. Just get out jogging. Every step is a joy.
Well, they always say it's the mitochondria and all that other stuff that you work. And even though you maybe not be working in different heart rate zones, there's lots of other stuff.
My heart rate goes like 170, 110, 180, 110.
But hopefully, at least, I'll still grumble that training isn't as I'd like it. But if I can get that 7 hours a week back.
Yeah.
We're not.
Think how many Patreons, think how many more sponsors you can get for the podcast with those.
I'm not time or financially rich, so if I can get a bit of time back, that would be awesome. But what is awesome news, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we've got a partnership with SHOKZ. I'm testing out the Open Fit Air. Yours are in the post, and also
I was going to say, is this a partnership or is this just the Gary Thwaites?
No, you've got some too. I was waiting for a lot of Protein Rebel stuff coming your way too, so I wanted to do one big parcel. And also the Open Run Pro 2. I'm loving these. I'm wearing them to do the podcast, the Open Fit Air, and I think it's because it's just getting a bit nippy at the moment, and these do work better.
Can you just remind me which ones I'm running? Which ones, the ones with the loop around the head, which ones are those
you've got
ones?
the Open Run Pro 2. There might be the mini ones, the smaller version.
I love those. They are so much better than their previous. If you've got older ones, I think I would. The button on it to move the songs. If you're like me and you share your Spotify accounts with your children, you're going to want to shuffle those songs on pretty often. And as you said, they fit in so much better. It was -5 when I was running this morning. Yeah. No way I wasn't having a bandana on my Swede this morning. And they fit in.
Well, that's why I like these, because they just go under the hat a little bit better. But yeah, I'm loving them. Netflix, you are not going to enjoy this. George and I are watching Burning Girls. Has that hooked you in? If you fancy something a bit spooky, then maybe check it out.
Neither of those words. You need to watch this.
Lisa's away for a few days, so George and I will be binging on that. And I really enjoyed, I don't know if you've ever seen this.
I've seen a very short bit, but I really enjoyed the bit I saw with the dog.
Eddie,
their dog as well.
I think we should pitch a TV show. Eddie and Gary go running. What are you laughing for? I could see it on Blaze TV. One of these.
What's our concept? What's our selling point?
Oh, well, okay. So we have a bit of running. We have a bit of... I put some thought into it.
Yeah, come on.
Idea for a TV show. It's basically what White House go fishing, but Eddie and Gary go running. Have a bit of chat. But we could go... I thought we could go somewhere. Bit of local knowledge. We go on the trails, and then we've got, we've had some wonderful guests on. We could go and have a chat with Matt about.
We knock on their doors, like we always say. We knock
Yeah,
on
we
their
could go and
door.
see the Reverend Lawrence Basham over in Grasmere. Elaine Bisson, the super talented artist and runner. Emma Stewart. We could go.
We
and
could
do
go.
some.
We could go and do TB testing with Emma on her cows.
I could go and probe
Go
a
and help
sheep or
Sarah
something
Perry
like that.
teach her kids on the lesson. This is
Victoria
a-
Magnus. I'll do anything for a 6-figure salary, Eddie. So have a think. We'll do.
And do you think people would watch, or are we not bothered about figures? We're just in it for the good times with the crew.
We'll ditch the podcast. We'll go over to the screens.
Oh, yeah, because also we're sensational looking as well. So they would sign up these two wrinkly old.
Just put some thought into it. You never know.
Okay. Well, you never know. You put it out there. Manifest it, Gary. Let's do this.
I think.
You make me laugh.
I think that's it for my week. Thanks, Beat Outdoor Sports, for supporting Brew the Coaches. They distribute brands like Knack Nutrition, Ultimate Direction, Knockaround Sunglasses, BB Sports, Catula, Spikes, and Instinct Running, and Injinji Toe Socks too. I saw a recipe on the Knack Nutrition website, vegan Reese's. I never knew.
Hello.
Yeah, well, I never knew they sold peanut butter, and it's got protein powder in it too. I'm super curious, Edwina. Peanut butter on toast, that is my go-to breakfast at the moment.
It's my go-to snack.
And I'm
Just any time of
certain
day.
I don't get enough protein. If I went on the scales, whatever it was the recommendation for your body weight, protein, blah, blah, with the amount of exercise you do, I'm pretty sure I'm missing those targets. Really interesting. I should check it out. Patrons, you can receive 15% off over at uk.knack. That's NAAK.com. And thanks for your question, Matt. It's super tough training when your routine is disrupted and you and your family, oh wow, have so much more going on than just a change of location. I can't begin to comprehend how tough it must be. This week's Brew the Coaches question comes from Matt Smith. Our 6-year-old little boy Jasper has had a tough time since he was born with multiple bouts of pneumonia and endless hospital stays. Around a year ago, we had a diagnosis of a rare genetic condition which affects his immune system. With the treatment he is now on, I have managed to get out training again and worked my way up to completing the GB Ultras Beacon Way 105k back in July. I was a keen runner before having Jasper, putting in 100-mile weeks. I had the Beacons as my training ground, so going from 0 to 105k in a year after 5 years off may not be as silly as it sounds. Our next challenge is Jasper is in for bone marrow transplant in January 2025 up in Newcastle, and we will have to relocate up there to live in the hospital for 6-ish months. My question is, how do I train while there? I will have very little free time between trying to work and being there for my family. Should I do strength work, as I could fit that in before bed and first thing in the morning, and don't need any equipment bar some dumbbells? Or given the fact I have got back to good distances previously, do I just fit in a run when I can and get back to it once we are back home in South Wales? I turn 40 next year. I'm aware my body might come back as quickly this time. Just after an opinion, one less thing to think about. Well, our thoughts are with, you and your family and Jasper. My goodness me, that is tough, Matt. And kudos, for the GB Ultras to do such a big race with everything that is going on. Yeah, kudos. And it's easier said than done. And this is me. I speak to the coaches. These people know what they're talking about. But if I had a friend reaching out, I'd say just give yourself some grace. This is not the time. There is a time for pressure, and running is, a privilege that you can put pressure on yourself. But personally, and it's like I say, I'm probably not the person that would actually take my own advice, but I would try and give myself some grace. And again, maybe over the time you do find a routine and running becomes a bit of an outlet, and that's, fingers crossed, if that comes, that would be awesome. Although it is a city centre, locally I know you can get some decent elevation in Newcastle. I've got lots of friends on Strava and I'm very jealous of their city centre vert they get. And then you do also with the city centre, you've got parkrun too. If you're looking for it, there's a community out there right in the hub of Newcastle. But Russell, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts for Matt?
Oh God, Matt, really sorry to hear. It sounds absolutely rough. I hear what Gary's saying, and sometimes people just need to take a step back and have a break from it all. but there's so many different types of people in the world, and some people really need that endorphin hit and that physical exercise every day, and actually helps them show up and be there for their families much better if they do get that in. And so it just depends on your approach. If you can do it in a way that it's investing in yourself for 30 minutes, 1 hour a day, and then it actually helps energize you so that you can be a better dad, better family member, then there's benefits to that. Are you going to be renting or buying, or are you living in the hospital? I don't really know, because one thing I would say I would definitely recommend is a treadmill, getting access to a treadmill. I used to live in Newcastle. I know what the weather's like in the winter. Just logistically, it can be so easy. And it might not be something that you like the idea of straight away, but you can get so many benefits so quickly on the treadmill. You can't get to elevation. You can just ramp the elevation up on your treadmill, and it's a really, really good training tool. And you can just get so much done in such a short amount of time, because you just take travel to and from the venue out. So that is something I would really look at if it's gym, or just buying a treadmill and getting your money's worth out of it. That is something to consider. The only other thing is, just like Gary said, is just take it easy on yourself. If you manage to get an hour done, if you don't, and life takes over, then just be easy on yourself and show compassion, because you're obviously going through the mill, and we're never going to fully understand, how hard that must be. I've got kids, and it's really hard to focus on yourself. But if it's helping you and it's helping you mentally, then it is worth trying to find a routine and trying to cram it in your day when you can. So totally understand why you'd want to do that.
What do you think, Trish? Yeah, I know. Well, personally, I know you mentioned about being 40 next year. Yeah, there's a ray of light there, Matt. I'm 51 now, and I think 40s were probably my best years. So yeah, I don't think...
You don't look 41, 51, Gary.
Thank you, Trish. So kind.
But those youthful looks. I'm going to be 40 in like a month.
Whoa. Well, you don't look 40 either.
Thank you. I was waiting for that. Thank you.
a fishing mission.
Tumbleweed, guys. Tumbleweed. Matt, I'm just so sorry, mate. I mean, I can't, I've got kids, and I can't imagine going through that, the emotional toll that must take. Massive well done you for holding it together. Super tough. How can you train? I think 100% what Gary said, give yourself some grace. It's going to be super important in your, in the recovery journey for you guys. Give yourself some grace, 100%. Second, absolutely what Russell said in terms of treadmill. If you can, maybe the best way forward for you is to join a gym whilst you're up there, because if you can join a gym that's close to the hospital, or where you're staying, it will reduce any traveling time that you'll have to do, and you can get incredible workouts in on a treadmill. I would try and do, in terms of your week, I would try and do one high quality strength and conditioning session, which you could do at a gym, and that would be I would focus on lifting heavy in that session. The other thing I would do is potentially look at, if you don't have much time and you have some time in the morning and maybe in the evening, is looking to do double sessions. So those could be double easy days, or you could have an easy morning and a hard session, for example, in the afternoon, and look to give yourself 1 to 2 hard sessions in that week. You can build up volume without having to push too much time into your long run as well. That's another way to do it. So as you can build up volume without, if you can't get away on the weekends, without having the long run. So those are a few options there. Those have worked really well for other athletes, particularly the double training sessions. A lot of athletes have done particularly well on that. It's not for everyone, but those are some options that might help you. But I'd 100%, as long as you can get that one main strength session in and a hard session, and get your general volume in over the morning and evening, that will be enough, I think, to get you through, because your fitness will improve. You've got some history with big mileage, and I think your body will remember that and get back into it. You don't lose that kind of endurance training. I think it kind of sticks in you. So get back into your fitness back up, and the rest will come. And good luck, mate.
Good luck, Matt.
Yeah, good luck, Matt. Hope they helped Matt not long now before your move up north. Hope the Northeast treats you well, and lots of love to you and your family, and most of all to Jasper. And if you've got a question for our coaches and you are a patron, then email hello@teaandtrails.com. Pop the words "brew the coaches" in the subject. Is it a subject bar, subject box? Do you get the drift?
You get the drift. We're recording next week, so we've got quite a few lined up, but it's never too late. Pop one in and we will try our best to answer it. This week's main interview is sponsored by X-Miles, the one-stop kit and nutrition shop. Thank you, X-Miles. Don't forget, patrons can receive 10% off over at www.xmiles.co.uk. Gary has got an idea for this. As ever, dear listeners, I'm just going with the flow. I'm going to take a deep breath. What's he going to do? Here we go.
Well, on the...
No, come on. Don't try and explain.
Well, yeah. On X-Miles, I've got an X-Miles website. They've got a nutrition planner, and this is the text from the nutrition planner.
Okay, but you said I'm going to read it like the Queen.
Like we do, when this TV show takes off.
Okay, yes.
And then we get invites for voiceovers.
Oh, like a M&S food.
Exactly.
Hitting
so I'll do
the wall
this, and then you'll do your best Nigella afterwards, okay?
This is dirty, but I love it.
Shall I do two? One normal, then one with a bit of energy, see if I can do
Absolutely not. People don't enjoy these sponsorship bits anyway. Come on.
I'll do like a Santander Antendeck
Oh
advert.
my God. All right.
Hitting the wall during a race, session or workout is never fun. X-Miles, one-of-a-kind tool, creates your personalised nutrition plan. You can then add your nutrition list from their range of products and check out with confidence. No more guesswork. Fuel correctly. Your next session just got better.
You just sounded like you were reading your normal bit of podcasts.
Should you do a bit more energy?
Yeah, go more Ant and Deck.
No,
like the
I'm not
TV
doing
crew. You're on the...
I couldn't do it with Rex. I'm not going to do it again. Hitting the wall during a race, session or workout is never fun. X-Miles, one-of-a-kind tool, creates you a personalised nutrition plan.
Nice.
You can then add to your nutrition list from their range of products and check out with confidence. No more guesswork. Fuel correctly. Your next session just got better.
Yeah, that was so much better. So much better. First one, to be honest, I wasn't listening. I was thinking, have I got time for a cup of tea? And then you just nailed it. And everyone's going to go and look at whatever you were talking about.
Want to give it a go?
No. This week's interview is with Alex Bance. Take a seat, take a gel, relax into that aerobic place and enjoy our chat with the incredible Mr. Bance.
I was listening to you guys doing your bios off AI and seeing how it goes. So I just did one on myself, just out of interest. I was like, whoa, that sounds pretty cool in AI world.
That's absolutely wild. I think people are doing their degrees on AI these days.
My mate came over the other day and he said, I'm applying for a job. He said, I've done my CV. I just need to do my cover letter. And I said, oh, email it to me and pop over. So he popped over and I said, I'll put the kettle on. I'll be back in a minute. And I came in here, I took his CV, put it into AI, I said, write me a cover letter for this job description using this CV. Whoa. Generated it, emailed it back to him. By the time the kettle had boiled, I was like, check your inbox. And there was his cover letter. Perfect. But did you just do that? I was like, yeah, that's really good.
Oh, it took me ages. Look, right, 100 quid. And...
Yeah. But I wonder if it's so good, like if you did it again, it would do exactly the same.
No, the trouble they have with it, each time it will generate something different. So you can't put that question in, bring up a sheet and then check if the kids have copied it, because each time it will change it. So there's no real way of checking if it's been generated by AI.
Can you remember like your dissertation, like your coursework for GCSEs and stuff?
The only thing that doesn't do, it may do now, but it didn't do at the start of the year, is it wouldn't do referencing for dissertations. So you couldn't say write it including references. Yeah,
because that was the bit. That's the bit that always took such a long time, didn't it?
There's certain things that people would need, like a pathway for recovery. Say if someone comes to your clinic, Alex, but if they typed in hamstring tear, I wonder if the knowledge that AI would pull off would be accurate, or it's still a bit of the Wild West.
It's not bad, because sometimes, I won't lie, sometimes I just like, if I'm rehabbing someone, I'll just put, am I on the right track here? So I'll just put in best exercises for proximal hamstring tendinopathy.
Well, I have to do that all the time in my job. When people go to the physio, my athletes go to physios. Often then the physio exercises are, they set them like the first level, and then people are a bit reluctant to pay to go and build on it, basically.
Yeah.
And so then I do the research of like, okay, progression for, hamstring tendinopathy. What is the best? It's all out there. It's scarily.
It just flies in. Yeah.
Google's the Wild West, though, because Google's no place. I could write a completely rubbish article and put it on Google, and it might just be found because for some reason it's popular. While AI, I think, it's got a lot more depth. I'm going to do 100-mile. How to crush 100-mile race.
I've got so much to tell you. Right, come on, let's get officially started.
Talking about AI, Alex Bance is a remarkable sports therapist and ultra runner from Salisbury. He's known for his incredible endurance challenges and fundraising efforts for charity. Alex holds the world record for the longest distance run in 24 hours while blindfolded. He also completed a 24-hour ultra run completely deaf and blind. Alex frequently undertakes extreme challenges to raise money for charities such as Julia's House and Children's Hospice. His recent challenge involved running 251 miles in 3 days. Alex runs a sports injury clinic in Salisbury where he treats people of all ages and abilities. Alex's dedication to both his profession and his charitable work are truly inspiring. Take that.
That'll do it. It ended up being 263 miles at the end.
We know that too.
Yeah.
We knew that because it's 2 miles short of a spine effort.
Yeah, it was, and I think I did it I think it was 4 days, 4 hours. So what's that, 96 and a half hours, something like that. So
smoking fast.
It was all right, yeah.
It was all right. Never has a man been less under enthused about coming on.
It was all right.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah.
It wasn't bad, yeah.
We're going to have to raise that game a little bit, Alex. Come on.
It was Tuesday, wasn't it?
Yeah, did it on Tuesday, back to work Friday.
We'll get into all of that, but first of all, we ask all our guests, where are you? What's the view from your window? And have you been for a run today? I'm curious where you're at. This is an interesting backdrop we've got, Alex.
So I work in a cabin, which is in my back garden. The view from my window it's a new build housing estate. So the gardens are very small, but it's nice. I spent a lot of time on it. I've got a pond. I've had my first frog the other day, which was very exciting for me. Yeah, Frank, good guy.
Good guy. Does he like running? Has he got?
He's got a hell of a hop on him. Yeah.
At the moment he's pretty healthy, but he knows the place to come.
We had a long chat about the wiseness of moving into a garden with 3 cats, and so.
Frank.
Yeah, I know. Dangerous Frank. Fearless Frank.
Fearless Frank.
Interval Tuesdays. So I did my pyramid intervals today.
Ooh, what's that look like? Sounds spicy.
I've got a little park just up the way. A lap is about, I think it's 0.35 of a mile. So I do 1 lap, then half, and then 2, 3, 4. I was supposed to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, but I went 1, 2, 3, 4. Lost count of what I was doing, and then did another 4, 2, 1. But it was so cold. I was counting on my fingers. It's so cold. My fingers have gone numb, and I was like, "Is this lap 2 or 3? I don't know." So I did an extra one just to be on the safe side.
I can't believe you've done it already. To do an interval session before 10 o'clock in the morning. My goodness me, that is some going.
Yeah. So on a Tuesday and a Thursday, I start work at 12. So I do Tuesdays intervals and Thursdays is hill repeats. So I try and get them done in the morning before I start.
Nice. I'd do that. Gary wouldn't do that. Gary would do it in the evening, but I like to get it done.
There's no way I'm doing a workout AM. Nope, no way. Okay, what's local running like for you? If Eddie and I turn up in your shed, your cave.
But we've got dodgy hamstrings. Oh, it's my knees.
Where are you taking us?
Problem.
What's your running highlights?
So we got the Monarch's Way is literally 300 metres up the way from me, and that's a really nice trail. You can go up. Quite like it. We don't have massive elevation in the area, so you have to try and find it, but we do have hill forts. So you can go up to Figsby Ring, which is an ancient hill fort, has some rare orchids growing there. It's a weird biodiverse area. Even though it's high, it's sheltered because of the fortifications. So these rare orchids, these pyramid orchids can actually live. And so that's pretty cool. Ooh. And then you can come down, you go the other way, 7 miles from Stonehenge. You can go out through the Whipper Valley and up to Stonehenge. Or then back out up to Old Sarum Castle, and that's I love Old Sarum Castle. You go up there early, You have the view of the whole city from the battlements, and it's it's a beautiful place to run.
We're coming down. That sounds
Coming down.
sensational.
It's a place dear to my heart, Alex, because my mum and dad used to live near there, and it's where my husband was stationed when he was in the army, and where we got married.
Oh, nice.
So I know the area really well, and it's great. Yeah, there are great trails, but it's undulating, isn't it?
Undulating, yeah.
Undulating, and then you are very close to our very dear A303, which takes it still haunts my dreams.
Keep skipping.
I hear it on the radio of the terrible traffic jams around Stonehenge. Still happening. I remember that roundabout, sitting there with a terrible hangover, having driven from Durham Uni back home, and decided I didn't need to stop, and getting there and there being like a terrible traffic light and just having to get out and do a wee. Anyway, we've overshared already. Let's go back to you.
Okay. As much or as little as you want to share, but who's Alex Bance and how did you get into trail and ultra running?
In 2018, I was married at the time. My then wife had a son, and I've got my 2 sons who live with me. They were all primary school age, and they were all in this really sort of kind of negative space. You know, everything was too hard, and I can't do this, and I could never do that. It was really frustrating trying to get them out of that kind of mindset. And so I used to say to them all kinds of like weird analogies. I was like, if you're building a house, you start with a brick and you move the brick, and then you go, I move that brick, I'll try 2, and then you can do that, and then you try 10 and you drop them, and it's a disaster. I said, but that's the best thing ever, because then you think, I need a wheelbarrow. You don't succeed and you create a workaround on it. And then I was trying to install them, if you say you can or you say you can't, you are right every single time.
Oh, I love that.
But they just didn't get the principle, because they were primary school age. In 2018, the eldest would have been, 11, 12. The youngest would have been about 9, 10.
So like, Dad, what are you talking about?
I'll be like,
they go, I can fly. And then they flap their arms. Oh, no, I can't. And I'm like, right, okay.
Did they ever come back though? Like now, it's 6 years on thinking, I remember that, Dad.
They do. They slate me for this story because they're like, because I told it on ITV News and they were fuming. They're like, I can't believe you were badmouthing us on the news. And I was like, I wasn't
heavy flex. You were like, watch out, kids. Whatever you say to me, it's going national.
Yeah. So I thought, right, I just need to demonstrate it. They are young, they're not getting it. So I thought, right, how can I demonstrate it? And I wasn't really a runner, not really. I'd done running. I've been in the military, so I've done a fair amount of running there. The biggest run I'd ever done, I think, was a half marathon, and that was many years before. But I'd run a little bit as part of fitness, but I wasn't a runner. So I thought, right, I'm going to do a big run. So I started looking. Now, I knew nothing about the World Ultras or anything, but I did know that their friends' mums and dads had done marathons. So I wanted to go beyond that. So I saw the London Brighton, where it was a 100K London Brighton Action Challenge. And I was like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. So I'm going to do that. That's a huge thing. And I said to Mike, I'm saying that I can do the London Brighton 100 kilometre. And then I worked, and I trained and I ran. And then they saw the effort and what I was doing. And then I did the event, which was absolutely awful. I had no idea. My training was awful. Looking back, my biggest run had been 18 miles. I had no idea what nutrition was. Just like, I had a pork pie in my pocket and that would do it. It was just a disaster. But I finished it. And I was thoroughly miserable. And my friend who was into ultras was like, "Oh, you're going to be hooked." And I was like, "You can do one, mate. That's the worst I've ever done." I was shuffling down the stairs on my bum because I couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think it took a week and I booked my next 50K. And then Excellent. I just got into them and I just started going into them from then. I kind of see it as I kind of had 2 running lives. So that was the start. And I think my DNF at UTS in 23 was my second running life. Because we'll sort of come to that. But that I kind of see it that way. I had just to begin with, I see myself as a bit of a child, sort of dabbling and trying and doing okay, but not really knowing what the hell he was actually doing.
Then what happened at UTS? I'm intrigued.
Oh, UTS. So I'd gone from, I'd done a few 50Ks, and then I found this local running organizer called Cricket Tracks Wiltshire. He's gone under now, unfortunately, but he was amazing. And he was completely non-profit. Everything that went into the race, anything that was left over went into a charity. And he did this one called Beyond the Far Side, which was a 5-mile loop in January. And 5 laps was the equivalent of ascending and descending Snowdon. The mud was mid-shin. It was vile. The weather was awful. The mud was vile. The elevation was hideous. And I did that, and I just got completely hooked on this idea of lapped runs. I just loved it. So that led me to Endure. Did my first Endure virtually in 2020, and I got my first 100 miles doing that. And then that sort of put me in this place where I was like, yeah, I can do 100 miles. I did under 25. No issue.
Gary and Eddie talk about it all the time. Come on.
Or UTS though, my goodness me. I know what this is.
Yeah. So then I was like, yeah, I could do UTS. I mean, what's the big deal? Just a mountain. Done it before. Did it before when I was 14. Didn't the reason, so UTS, the reason it's such a big kicker to me is Snowdonia and North Wales is quite a special place to be. It's where, when I was a kid, we had this, she was some kind of aunt. I don't really understand how she was related, but she was some kind of aunt.
Yeah, I think everyone has that sort of aunt that you're like, you're not my aunt, but you are my aunt. You're in my parents' life.
I have to call you auntie. But
I've got an auntie, no relation whatsoever.
No relation.
Yeah. But she had this cottage in this village called Treffer in North Wales, and we used to go there most summers and be up and down the mountains, and it was great. And I hadn't been back since I was about 14. Then in the sort of October before UTS, I found out my dad had cancer.
Take your time. We don't have to talk about this if you don't want to.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and I just thought what would be better than to go to Snowdon, do a 100-miler, bring him along. So it was it was very special and important to do that, because he's still here, so that's great, but we didn't know then how long. So that's why I signed up to it. But that, that was a very, that sort of October, November was bad, and then in January my marriage broke down. And that ended. Oof. Yeah, so it was
so when I always say to people, stress is stress, don't do big things, you were like, no, I'm going to throw everything at this body. Yeah, okay.
So it was, so at the start of 23, I was in a real black space.
Yeah, for sure.
And I did what I always do. My standard coping mechanism is alcohol. And with everything I do it to an extreme, and I do it quite well. So I was drinking very heavily. That's what really worried me, is I can drink heavily. I can drink a bottle of wine, 4 cans of Thatcher's, get up in the morning, go for a run, go to work, like there is no issue. So there was nothing to stop me having that lifestyle, This does all tie in, and we are coming back around in a second.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I can see that it's all tying. We know where this is going, but we also know it's got a reason for going there probably as well.
It was sort of early in the year. So UTS is already booked, and it was sort of early in the year, sort of January, February, and I was out on a run, and you just think about everything when you run, don't you? Think about your life. And I was like, okay, you're in this place, you're not making particularly good choices. When you're hiding bottles of wine down the side of the sofa so your kids don't see how much alcohol you're consuming, it's not a good place to be in. And I've always tried to be a positive role model to them. I wasn't being, and I was trying to hide it, So I was out on the run, and I was like, right, you just need to sort your life out. And it was something my dad told me, actually, and it was a quote from Florence Nightingale, and it was, if everyone looked after their half, the world would be a better place. And I agree with that. I think there's so much going on, but if you just have a good influence on the things you can control, everything is better. So I was thinking, I need to be better for my kids. I need to, I do my work properly, and I need to raise money for this charity. So Juliet's House, this children's hospice, they're local to Wiltshire and Dorset, and I'd raised money for them for 3 years. I'd taken a year off. And I was like, I need to get back into doing something good for other people.
Is that charity, is there a connection to that charity that you had?
That London Brighton, I thought, I'm doing this, to prove a point to my kids, but, let's double hat it. Let's raise some money for a charity. I wanted something local, that was important. And then, I just meet so many people through my job. And Julia's House kept coming up. My nephew sadly passed away there, or they're helping my friend's daughter who's got this horrible condition. Because it's for children's cancers, but it's for children with life-limiting conditions as well. So I was like, we need to go and have a look. So I was with the wife there. So I said, let's just go down to an open day. And we walked around that facility, and it was just phenomenal. The way they work isn't just for the child, it's for the family. So they bring the whole family, siblings, parents, everyone in. All the care is guided by the family. The family say, this is really what we want to happen, and they make it happen for them. They want to be in the hospice, Grace. If they want to be at home or in the community, they will do that for them. We walked out of that hospice, and I turned to Vicky, my wife, and I said, I know we're overdue on the gas bill, but we have zero problems in our life. We have no problems looking at those families and what they're going through. It's completely humbling. And I decided then, I'm going to raise money for these people for as long as I can. So I did the 100K, that went really well, got £1,000. I did the 100-mile and Jewel, that went really well, got £1,000. Did a 100-mile the next year, and I raised 65 quid. And that taught me a lesson of, so if you repeat, they're just not going to do it. So then I had a year off. So there I was on my run, feeling sorry for myself, thinking about how I can stop feeling sorry for myself. And I was like, right, let's raise some money for this charity. And I was like, okay, so it needs to be more than what I've done before. So what does that look like? So then I was just thinking about what they do. And they care, one of the big things that really struck me was the fact they care for children who are born deaf and blind. And my mum was a nurse all her life, and she used to work. She did a period of time in a place like Julia's House caring for deaf blind children. So she'd already talked to me about it. And I just couldn't comprehend, what is the world if you've never seen a thing or never heard a word, it's just so unfair. The stuff that happens is just so unfair to these families. I'm really emotional today.
Yeah.
I think it was the intervals, right?
Let's blame the intervals. Let's blame that extra interval. But
it is dusty in this cabin. I've
got something on my. For somebody to be so present, struggling to pay the gas bill, but very aware of other people's struggles that are greater than yours, it's wonderful. It's wonderful, Alex.
This is when I had this sort of light bulb moment. I was like, everyone says a 24-hour race is life in a day. You have all the ups and all the downs of life in a day. I was like, so if I was deaf and blind on a 24-hour race, it's not the same, but it's life in a day of a deaf blind person, kind of. And it's relevant to the charity. And it's a big enough challenge that people are going to sponsor. So I had this idea, and I was running along, and I had this idea, and I was like, okay. I got in the house and I rang the charity immediately, because I knew if I sat down and thought about this for more than 5 minutes, I don't know, mate, that's a terrible idea. Yeah. So I just rang them up and I said, I've had this idea. And they're like, that's great. And I was like, yeah, because you're not doing it. But that committed me then. Once I commit to something, it's very hard for me not to see it through. Yeah. So that committed me to that thing. And that's how the Deaf Blind Challenge formed up. I also, it's slightly selfish reason. And I did think, so I was going to do it in the October, and I was thinking about it at the start of the year. And I thought, you're going through a lot. By October, if you still have hang-ups, it's all going to come crashing out once you do that to yourself. So it will be a good measure of how far you've come. Have you sorted your life out to a point?
Gosh, you don't do things by half, do you?
What was the response? This is a big challenge, and obviously you need to go big to generate more money. But when you told people about it, because it's for people who have those senses, it's so alien. I was trying to think before this interview how you could somehow kind of replicate what you're going through is different to what these poor children are going through, but how for me to understand what you're going through to motivate me to put money in your pot, I just wondered what the feedback was. When people say, You're never going to do that. It's crazy. Or did people really not appreciate how hard the challenge was?
I think there was a combination. Some people were like, "Oh, that's amazing," and I don't think they really thought, into it. Like, "Oh, that's amazing. You've done ultras. Yeah, you'll be right." Anyone who gave it any kind of thought was like, "I think you've bitten off more you can chew here, mate." I had a conversation with this guy called John, who he's a really great guy, but he's straight down the line and tells her how it is. And he goes, "I think you may have gone a step too far." He goes, "You've taken on something here." Because I was researching it, because I want to see, has this been done before? The closest thing I could find was 3 guys in Canada, and they put themselves in shipping containers on a treadmill and shut the doors, and they ran on the treadmill for 24 hours.
Oh, goodness me.
Yeah. So that was the closest thing I could find to it. But then I was thinking, well, you're in a shipping container, but no, I'm not diminishing what they did, but you can still see and you can hear to a point, and you still have more senses about. So then I was like, okay, so what happens with sensory deprivation? That's my next kind of Google search. That was very depressing.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Like, what's the maximum time you can do with sensory deprivation? And it was all like, if you go over an hour, there's a high chance that you're going to have some kind of mental repercussion, possible like insanity and all this kind of thing.
Wow.
I was like, but then I was thinking, but I was thinking that's like one of those full immersion chambers.
Yeah, okay.
At least I would still have touch and and feel.
True.
Although I did say at the start, I want no human contact, like, at all, while I'm doing this thing.
Can you just explain, because we know the details of this because we read it out back when we were young with functioning knees many years ago. Can you just
Tales from the Trail, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? Was it even Tales from the Trails? Was it even that?
Was.
Did we just wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can you just explain to people how you set it up then?
There was lots of logistics. With Guinness was just a huge paperwork exercise, which was very difficult and tedious. But the actual logistics of the run, so that requires some thought. So I got a running track. It's co-owned between the local running group, COSARC, and the South Wilkes Grammar School. And they both agreed to let me use it as long as there's understanding it was not on their insurance. So that was good. And they were both extremely helpful. Both the grammar school and COSARC, the running group, were amazing and very helpful. So then I bought myself some, the electric fence posts you put in for pending sheep and cats and things.
Yeah.
Got a load of those, so they went down the sides of the track. But then on the bends, it's the asphalt, isn't it? It's no grass on the bends. So then I used hurdles on the bends and then tied string around the whole loop. At the start finish, I put in 3 posts close together, so I'd have a physical thing to know I was at the start finish point. So then to my right, I had a folding table and a camping chair. So if I kicked out to my right, I could find them. And my brother was amazing. He was there for the whole 24 hours. And I said, we have water on the left, we have snacks in the middle, and we have electrolytes on the right. As they go, you just keep refilling. I had blackout blindfold, which worked really well. And then I had like the soft foam earplugs with big over-ear mitts on the top. So I had to use double hearing protection to really black out the noise. And I had this very strange system of counting laps. I can't remember exactly. I had an elastic band for a lap. So each time I did a lap, I'd move the elastic band along a finger. When I got to 5 fingers, I had a stone, which I was holding with a thumb. And then the stone, after 5, the stone would move along. And then when I got to the end of that, it'd be like 5 miles. It
sounds very complicated.
Alex, you struggled on your intervals this morning, so I'm a bit nervous about the rubber band and the stone counting.
Yeah. So I had this thing, but it was to try and measure distance, 5 miles. And then I'd put a clothes peg on my string to go, that's 5 miles.
And was that all for nutrition because you weren't getting any feedback? I see. Okay,
yes.
Right.
Because I was thinking, I need to eat and drink every hour, but I can't judge time.
But apart from the bottles being topped up, there was nothing. Nobody tapped you on the shoulder to say, have a sit down for 5 minutes or anything. You just completely solo.
There was one time because the string broke.
Okay.
I was going along and the string snapped in my hand and it just flew out of my fingers. And I was like, oh. So then I was on my hands and knees trying to find the string. So then my brother did come over because I told him, and one thing about brother, he's amazing. But if you tell him, he follows it to the letter.
Yeah.
So I said, absolute minimal contact. So he kicked me.
He kicked you, did you say?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I should stand. Someone's here, I'll stand up. And then he was
like, get in. Is he your younger brother by any chance?
Older.
Is he? Oh, older. I'll get him.
And then he'd give me like a little push, like just with his fingertips, a little push, as in to direct me.
Yeah.
But I was convinced I was like, no, it's that way. And then he'd give me another poke, and I was like, it's that way. And he'd give me another, and I was like, why am I arguing with the guy who can see? But that was the only time. And then to finish, I said to him, the way we know it's over is you put 2 hands on my shoulders, and then I know it's done. So that was the next time I had any physical contact for the 24 hours.
And was the world record, was that just purely to maximise the story, publicity?
Yeah, I thought it got it out in the news a little bit more. It was all about, you've got to try and create awareness and make it a story as newsworthy as possible to try and get as much money for the charity as you can.
Yeah.
So I tried to set a new record of longest distance deaf and blindfolded and deaf, and they said no, they wouldn't do that, but it would count as longest distance running a blindfolded 24 hours. They just didn't recognise the deaf element of it.
How was it?
Awful.
When you yeah. when you thought, I was going to frame it in a different way. When you thought about that, when you had the initial idea and you said you're going to do it in October, and you thought it will give me a time to reflect on where I am in my headspace, because you weren't in a good place.
From that point, and from my DNF at UTS, that was a big point. I'd really, really worked on myself. So when I got there and I did it, of all of horrendous things that happened in that 24-hour period, I had no kickback on any of the personal stuff in my life. I did have this really strange moment. I'm not particularly religious. I'm not a religious person, but I do this weird thing on some basis where I will have a little chat with God.
Of course.
So I did it on UTS.
He's always there if you need him.
On UTS, I was going along, and I said the track was going ahead, and it could either go up this massive mountain or off down to the side. And I said, God, look, if you take me to the side of the mountain and not up it, right, I will be a better person. I will really, really try, right? And then the track didn't go to either. It turned right and up an even worse mountain.
Yeah, that'll learn you. Don't bargain with the big guy.
Yeah, I was like, deal's off, mate. Deal's off. I'm going to be awful.
We've all had a chat with God. Well,
yeah. Well, when I was on the track, I did this weird thing. So I was on the track and I was going round and round. I know it was fairly early on. It must be like 4-6 hours in, something like that. And I went, listen, God, I just want to say thank you for keeping my dad alive long enough to watch this. And I felt this warm, fuzzy feeling come over me.
Yeah.
And then because I'm me, I went, which is really weird because you're normally a bit of a dick. And then I went ice cold. And I literally burst out laughing. I was still on the track going, it was a joke. Come on.
Don't leave me now, guys.
The big guy's not judgy.
So did you have horrendous hallucinations? Was it? Yeah. And from quite early on, how?
I mean, I think we've all hallucinated on events, haven't we? We've all seen weird stuff.
I don't know if Gary has. Gary, have you ever? Yeah, you did on 13 Valleys have a few little
tricks of the light, I would say.
Yeah, you see things and you're like, that's weird, and then actually it's a tree. And
but you're seeing things so you can. The brain is seeing things. So even though you're hallucinating, but you're in a different league.
Well, what I first noticed is, I did 15 miles and I thought, I'm just going to sit for a minute and have a drink. Because it was quite a hot day. I thought, and I'm in no rush, really. And as soon as I sat in that chair, have a falling dream?
Is this scary?
No.
Is this scary? No. Okay.
Okay.
I was like, I'm going to take my earphones out.
But when you have those dreams where you're falling and you're like, oh,
yeah. Oh, they're horrible. Yeah,
I had that sense. Like I sat in the chair and it was like I just disappeared into a pit. So I just threw myself straight out of it, and I was like, no, not doing that. And got back on the track, and I was like, running's okay, running's quite familiar. I had this horrendous pain, which came on quite early in my ear, which I thought was the headphones, and it took literally about 14 hours for me to figure out that the blindfold had slipped down and was friction in my ear. And my ear is...
What?
As soon as I moved it off, I mean, it was the worst pain. It was the worst pain ever. And for 14 hours, just burning, tearing sensation in my ear. And my ear is actually a little bit deformed there's an indent on this left ear now from where that band had friction for 14 hours against it. So that was sort of burning around in the background. But the first sort of hallucinations kind of thing was I started to get a horizon, but it was just pitch black, sort of halfway down, and then halfway up it was a light grey, but it was a sky of stars, and I could look round and I could just see stars all around. And that was really nice. I was just looking around in the air and I was like looking at all these stars, and I was thinking, I wonder how many stars are real then? You know, I wonder, are those stars real, or, you know, is it all just something in our heads? So that was quite nice. My sense of smell heightened quite quickly because I said, is someone having a bonfire? And speaking to my brother afterwards, he said there was just a very faint whiff of smoke came over, and he said he wouldn't even noticed it if I hadn't brought it up. And this is more towards the end. I could actually see my hands, like completely see my hands.
Yeah, I was wondering if because it was in theory black, but if your mind was just filling in the gaps with things that were there.
It was amazing. Some of it, you know, like that was amazing. I was just stood for ages wiggling my fingers. That was amazing. I had a little tent which I'd stringed off, which I had like some spare bits in, and I could go to my tent, and it's got a tear in the seam which you have to lift to get the zip by. I could see the seam. I could see the tent perfectly. I moved the zip past the thing.
Wow.
And in my head, I was thinking, I know this tent. I've been camping loads. That kind of makes sense that I could generate that image. What I couldn't explain was my box of clothes pegs to mark the 5 miles. I just dropped them on the floor at the start of the race, not really looked at it. I could see the box, see the pegs so well that I could literally pick one out without fumbling and put it on the string. Perfectly see it. They were the good hallucinations. And then there was everything else.
Take your earplugs out, Eddie.
Did your brother find it quite mentally challenging watching you do this?
Yeah. The problem with my brother is he's a really nice human. Before he goes, so at what point do we throw the towel in? And I was like, we don't. He was like, yeah. But what happened, you know, what's the worst case where we go, okay, that's enough now, and we take it off? I was like, well, that doesn't happen. Whatever you see here happens. Do not do anything.
That's a lot to ask of him.
I know,
isn't it?
Crewing's really stressful.
Well, crewing's really stressful anyway, like when you've got a functioning person who is a toddler in front of you anyway, but when that toddler doesn't have any eyes and sound.
It must have been horrible for him, and he did struggle with some points of it.
But he did kick you, so he wasn't
He did, so he got a little...
Did you ever think though of taking the blindfold off? Was there any like real lows?
Yeah. What happened kind of into the night, it's very hard to judge time, but I can piece bits together from what people told me and from the temperature. You know, I could feel it getting colder. What was happening, which was really crazy, was like my brain would generate a landscape. So I'd be running along, and then suddenly I'll be on a country path, like literally see the track, see the trees, see the fields, look over to my right, see the farmhouse on the side. I'm like, wow. Like suddenly
nice place. Let's get that really on prime location.
Yeah. And then I'd look round, and then there'd be a massive rock or a fallen tree, and then I'd jump out of the way, and then it would stop. I'd be back in darkness.
And did your brother see you reacting to these? Was he
they saw me jumping off the line, and I was losing my temper with it further on. Like I was actually starting to shout at nothing because it was frustrating. It was so frustrating. It only take 20 minutes, and then I'd be in the mountains, and I'd be running on snow. I could hear the snow crunching under my feet. I could smell the snow. And I'm like, wow. And then there'd be suddenly a sheer drop, and I'd jump back. And then I'll be back in the dark. Then I'll be on a housing estate running down the road. And then
that's not such a good one.
No.
It's a disappointing one, that one. You'd be like, oh.
Is the track open? It's like year 13 doing triple jump or something while you're doing
No, it was on the weekend. I timed it, post up the running group had a track thing on. They were really nice. They said, we'll cancel our training. I was like, please don't cancel your training. I've just shifted my start time to 2:00 in the afternoon rather than 12. But the gates are open for people to come and go. But I said to my brother, between 10 and 6, 10 at night, 6 in the morning, everything needs to be locked. Because the last thing I wanted was some group of drunks
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
No.
cutting
Oh,
the
my
string
goodness,
or putting
yeah.
the string,
Yeah.
rerouting you via.
Yeah. No, and it was just for my own mental.
Yeah, you
kind
knew
of-
you were kind of
I
like
knew
safe.
I was locked.
Yeah.
It was safe. Yeah.
Tell me the moment when you took the blindfold off. How was that?
Well, let's do the worst bit. Then
Okay.
we'll do that.
Oh,
that-
good. I love that. There's more. Oh, God.
Yeah. So the worst
Prep
bit.
the earphones.
This, I think, happened about 3 a.m. because there was like so my brother and my mate Dan was there, and I was so sick of jumping out of the way of imaginary things. I just sort of sat in my chair and I was like, I've had enough now. I just need to reboot my head. The first thing I saw was a great big trout on its back, caught in this net from the old mousetrap game, and he was mouthing "Help me" to me.
Oh, no.
This is so dark.
But I was like, no, mate.
Oh, no, sorry, mate. You got yourself in
No.
that trouble.
You are a trout, yeah, and you had no place playing mousetrap. So no,
No,
I'm not
clearly.
gonna help you. Yeah, and then I was thinking, that's what the hell is wrong with me, man? Who?
Help the trout.
What is
Who
wrong with
doesn't
my
help?
brain that generates that image? I mean, what is wrong with me? And then it got very, very dark. And then all these images started coming in. He was a spaceman with his visor open, and his face was completely melted. And he was in my face, and he was screaming in my face. But there's nothing you can do. You can't close your eyes.
Yeah.
You can't put your head under the covers. You can't avoid it. It's there everywhere you look. And these images were coming in, and they were getting overwhelming and awful. I was getting pretty scared. And then the whole backdrop turned to like a purple veil, like a shadow puppet veil. And behind it were these purple lights, and they started quite small. And then they were moving towards me, and they were getting larger and larger. And I had the worst feeling of dread I've ever felt in my life.
I've got a feeling of dread while you're telling me what's going to happen.
terrifying.
And I didn't know what was going to happen when they got to me, but I knew when they got to me, I was in so much trouble. And I just didn't know what to do. And then my brain was going, take it all off.
Yeah.
You have to get it off. And then it was rushing through my head about all the stats I read about going mad. And I was like, if you don't take it off, you may go mad, and you may go mad forever. You know, you need to take this stuff off. And then this other voice, the stubborn Alex, came in and went, absolutely not. You made a commitment to a charity. You will fulfill that commitment. And if you go mad, then that is on you. But that's just how it goes, mate. That you are not taking anything off until 2:00 Sunday. And then I was like in this huge dilemma, like, oh my God, what do I do? I just looked down. I was in utter despair. And I looked down, and then the floor changed to my hallway carpet. I saw my boys' shoes walk in, and I could see the toes of their shoes. It's getting dusty again. And they said, come on, Dad, you've got this. And I was like, I thought I just need to go. And I just got up, and I got on that string, and I just got going. And then, you know, those hallucinations came back. The only way I could get rid of them was visualize a music video. If I visualized a music video, I had a vision and a sound, which blocked out the hallucinations. But I could only think of Looks That Kill by Motley Crue. So I watched that video for about 6 hours. But yeah, so then back to Eddie's question, I was going along, and then I felt the 2 hands on my shoulder.
Did you know you were near the end then? You must have, the pegging was
I had no idea. I was going, and I was just thinking, no, my pegging was there, but I had lost all faith in my ability to count. Because I think you'd think it'd be easy to keep tracks.
Oh no! I mean, it's hard to keep. Look,
just
go
never
back
knew
again to the
anywhere.
intervals this morning.
Yeah, just had no idea where I was. I didn't know if I was at the start of it. It was awful. So then, and I was going and going, and I was thinking, this must be over in a minute. And it felt like an eternity. And then I felt the 2 hands on my shoulders, and I knew, I thought I was about halfway down the lap. And I was like, right, Tim, if that's the end of the event, tap me twice on my left shoulder. And he tapped me twice on my shoulder. I was like, could you hold onto my shoulder, and can we run in together? I thought that was really, really nice moment. So we ran in together. And as we were running, I said, Tim, look, I said, I've got a good sense of humour. But if you've let me run an extra hour for a joke, don't tell me for about 3 weeks, because I will not have the sense of humour to cope with it.
Too soon.
Yeah.
God, I just can't believe how present you are. You've done all that, even like with the hallucinations, there was still this voice pulling you back. And then to have that presence at the finish there with your brother, literally, I struggle to tie my shoelaces sometimes, Alex. This is it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, so everyone was really like, oh, you know, like they were talking to him after. They were all really tentative about what do we do. My brother was like, maybe I'll take him into like one of the store cupboards where the hurdles are, so he can come back in slowly. I was like, no. So I took off the headphones, took off the blindfold, and it took about 5-10 seconds for my eyes to adjust back to daylight. And then there was all my friends and family there, and I was just euphoric, you know.
Yeah.
And I was straight back to my normal piss-taking self.
Was your ear gushing with blood? Was that
It was
screaming?
all scabbed up. I was in the co-op 2 days later, and I must have rubbed it. I was walking in the co-op, and everyone was staring at me. And I was like, "What's their problem?" Got in the car, and I just had blood all down my side. And I was like, "Oh, that's their problem."
Wow.
Walk around the co-op bleeding out. But yeah, it was. But I reckon it took 3 days to be able to sleep with the lights off. After that,
Yeah.
I didn't sleep for about 3 days. I stayed downstairs, had the lights on, had the telly on, and fell asleep when I physically couldn't keep awake anymore. If I closed my eyes, I was having panic attacks and all sorts.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever think then, oh, crikey, this wasn't such a good idea? Maybe I've damaged myself.
I did. Yeah, I was like, well, that was tough, man. That was so awful.
What did
but
your boys say when you finished?
Oh, they're so
All right, Dad.
excited. Yeah, no,
Tea? What one for tea?
didn't get 100 then.
I would have had, Alex, I am with you in solidarity. Third again, Mum. Third again.
Yeah,
What happened? You get a medal then, I suppose, did you? Yeah, no, not a good trophy.
Yeah, I get that. Not many trophies, Dad. A lot of medals, no trophies. Yeah, thanks, mate.
Oh, but they're watching. They're watching. So you've not only you managed to fill in all the paperwork, and you did get the world record. And I reckon you're quite safe with that world record for a little while. You know, when people break world records, and then there's a flurry of people coming back at you.
Yeah.
Especially if you point them towards this podcast and they listen to the purple lights and the.
Does it cost anything? Basically, Guinness, are they coining it in off these attempts?
I did it for free, which meant
Okay.
It was very, very hard to communicate with them and very hard to get it verified, or you can pay a considerable amount of money and they do it all for you. But,
And it's much quicker, is it? Is that right?
Yeah, it's quick and it's easy. And, you know, I think an official adjudicator started, I think, at £8,000.
I was thinking like, okay, so maybe a couple of £100. But
Plus travel, plus food,
Helicopter in.
plus
Gary,
accommodation.
official adjudicators for Guinness World Records?
Yeah, if you think some records are most slices of cucumber in 30 seconds,
Yeah.
that's £8,000. So what you're going to pay for a 24-hour event, you know, it's going
Goodness
to be.
me.
I wish you had got the adjudicator there who had to stay there for 24 hours.
They don't sell books anymore, do they? It's all online, so they need to earn their money somehow.
Yeah.
Poor old Guinness.
We've got so much more we can talk about. You've gone on, Alex, to run 263 miles this year as another challenge, a really symbolic route, and showing that, gosh, you're a man of not just many talents, but also, wow, constantly thinking about other people. You'd think after that challenge that it might not be enough. But you've not only done that, but you've also done the Centurion 100 Grand Slam. How has the body, do you know a good sports therapy? How has the body held up this year from running all those miles?
It's been quite demanding. So, I mean, the Thames, I think the gap between the Thames Path and the South Downs Way is 5
It's the tricky
weeks.
one. Yeah, it's the tricky one,
that's
that gap.
a sharp turnaround. Then you've got a nice break between the North Downs. Did the North Downs literally 3 weeks later, I did the 263, which then put me, I think, about 5 weeks to the Autumn 100. And then I'm doing the Winter 100 as well in a minute.
Ooh.
See,
Yeah.
I won't see you there
You
because
won't see me,
hopefully
no.
you won't wait the finish for me. Where's the
I could do,
solidarity,
yeah.
Alex? Oh my God. I tell you what, if you put the blindfold on and stuff, I'll definitely know my sweet confined place. You're that guy. Oh my gosh, I will definitely think of you. So yeah, you must be just a little bit tired, maybe.
Yeah, I felt it on the 263 weeks after the North Downs. I found very difficult going from that into a 263 miler. But the nice thing about that was there was no cut-offs. You know, so I could just, I took it at a pace, and I didn't feel the pressure of racing. But when I got to the Autumn 100, the first half went really well. The second half, I really struggled. I think the whole year caught up with me on those last two legs of the Autumn 100. But feeling good now. So I think I think it was an 8-week gap between autumn and winter. I mean, it's far too much for 1 year. It's ridiculous. I'm doing 6 next year. I'm doing the ARC, UTS, and the GB Ultra Grand Slam.
Oh, that was one of my questions, actually. Yeah, you go back to UTS.
Yeah. Back to avenge myself.
Oh, you must. Yeah. You must go back up to those paths and
I told my
take
dad,
the right one.
Yeah, I told my dad he's coming with me regardless. So.
Yes, absolutely. He needs to be there. Lucky him. A little trip to beloved Wales.
Was this 263 miles, was that a solo challenge?
The principal at Julia's house was founded by Julia Perks. She was a great ormistry nurse, retired in Dorset, where there was no children's hospice. So she started fundraising for a hospice. Sadly, she then died of cancer. So her friend Mike built the Dorset Hospice and named it after her, and then the Wiltshire one followed. So the route was from Great Ormond Street Hospital down to the Dorset Hospice and then up to the Wiltshire one. So I called it Julia's Journey because I was following her kind of story. I wanted to do it unaided, but that was just foolish and immature. So my brother did come out of Winchester and Mudderford, and then when I got to Wiltshire, quite a few people come out, but yeah, that's a long story. That one. That's a
podcast
disaster, and that had the own series of nightmares and disasters and collapses and awfulness. 6 hours sleep. In 6 hours of sleep, I got in 20-minute blocks. And the one time I took more, I did an hour. That's when I collapsed, and it was awful. But yeah, tell for another day, huh?
I don't think I should play that bit to my mum. That's the sort of thing my mum would go, you see, this is very silly what you've said.
But what was the route like? I always see people who do the Land's End to John O'Groats, and it sounds phenomenal to do it, but then I see them running down the A road somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and I think, nope.
I really, really tried to stick to national trails because I wanted to be in the trails. So I did the Thames Path, the Thames Downlink, North Downs, St Swithin's Way. So that's mostly, you get out of London and that's pretty much.
You've done the Winter 100. You don't really need to do it again.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was thinking that when I was going up Box Hill. I was like, 3 times in a year? Are you serious? I hate this. The North Downs has given me PTSD, I swear. But then you have to go through Winchester. Then it's the Itchen Way. So that's another trail. You have to go through Southampton and Tottenham, which is built up. But then you're on the Solent Path. So the vast majority of it, there was the cities, Winchester, Southampton, Hull. I had to go through those, but the rest of it was all on national trails. So it was really nice. Thames Downlink, stunning. Never even heard of Thames Downlink. It's a stunning trail.
I miss all this stuff. Being up north, there's so many trails.
So much down south, Gary. So much.
What was your shoe choice?
How do you call it? Saucony? I can never.
Saucony.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Yeah, it's like Hyundai the car. How do you say that? Hyundai.
I'm doing the experiment with my Saucony. So they've done the Grand Slam with me. They've done the 263. When I finished the Auto 100, my mate Gemma Harris, she met me at the end. And I said, what do you think of these trainers dead? And they're all ripped to bits. And she was like, no, use pair-ups. Have you seen pair-ups on Instagram? I was like, well, I'll get on that. So I'm going to try and get the Winter 100 out of them if I can. So I'm using pair-ups to just try and see how far I can push these trainers. Because the soles are all right.
The Saucony, it's the uppers, isn't it? Is it the bit where they bend? That's where, when I used to wear them, they used to go in that, like, sort of where the little toe is.
A bit there. Well, no, to be fair,
to be fair, they've done quite a few miles. They've done more miles than...
There's more tape than trainer at the minute.
Okay.
But I quite like that look.
As long as it holds together. Oh, that's incredible. Can people still donate to?
I think the page is still open. So on my Instagram, Spar Injury Clinic, in my bio, there's still a link there. I think I got a message from Just Giving saying it's closing soon.
Okay.
But I think it's still active at the minute.
Let's give you a little push then if you're listening to this and you were inspired by Alex's story and dedication and pushing himself to the limits for people. What's amazing is that you would give up so much, not only of your time, but put yourself through that for other people.
Well, I always think, I did that thing that was awful. I had moments on the 263 which were really awful. I thought I was in real danger. But I always think to myself, what I'm doing is temporary. What these people have is their life, and there is no break for them. This will end for me eventually.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you can do them, isn't it? Because actually, you could press the button at any time and step away.
Yeah.
And it's over.
Should
right, let's
we
lift
do
the mood to the quick five?
the quick five?
Gary. What were you going for the quick five?
Can't be running, Alex, but how would you pass the time on a day off?
If it's not running.
Yeah, jeez, Alex, can you imagine? You actually have to do stuff. You have to have a
What does that
shower,
even
put
look
jeans
like?
on.
Wow.
I think we need to explore this area, Alex, of a little bit of time. Yeah, but maybe
be with my
cinema.
boys.
Yeah.
My
What are
boys
they into now?
They love competing. They don't like running or anything like that. But we go to the Isle of Wight every year, and it's a weekend of competing. It's the best Bance competition.
Okay.
So we play mini golf, pool, anything you can compete against that we do. And then at the end of the weekend, whoever won the most gets the best Bance. I'm getting a little wooden shield made up, and I'm going to get them engraved. And that's going to be our thing. I've told them when they grow up, no wives, no girlfriends, no kids. It's just going to be us three once a year getting together and just, reconnecting because they're getting older now.
Oh, I thought you were saying to them, no wives, no kids, nothing when you grow up. And I was thinking, oh, God. Might edit that bit out a bit.
I've had some bad experiences with them. I haven't got quite that bitter yet.
It's just us. It's just us forever.
We've got a family WhatsApp group, and George has been putting in. He goes to the gym now, and he's doing these shoulder shrugs, and he's lifting heavier than I am. So he loves posting pictures down the gym just to flex over his dad. Yeah, never stops competing. What gets you up in the morning? First drink of the day, tea or coffee?
I start with a coffee, then I switch to tea, but I do start with a coffee.
Have you got tea making facilities in the cabin?
No.
Oh, I'm not coming to your therapy place. Jeez.
No, but I do have a cup of tea. I have a cup of tea between every appointment, which means I drink very cold tea most of the time.
Yeah, now we're talking. Now we're talking.
Well, you mentioned cats. You can't really keep cats off the furniture. I'll ask the question anyway, though. Yeah, pets, are they allowed on the furniture?
Well, depends. Gus, the older cat, not so much. Dottie is my little princess and has full reign of absolutely everything. I'm so soft with that cat. It shows me why I'm lucky I never had a daughter. So the boy cats, I'm very rigid. No, with her, of course you can.
Would Frank be allowed on the furniture if he hopped in?
He wouldn't last long.
We found Frank. I sent Oscar, my youngest, to Hoover, and he was like, "Dad, there's a frog." And I was like, "Where?" He's like, "On the carpet." I was like, Frank's back. He died. I told you, fearless Frank.
He's getting cozy.
Frank is coming inside. You're going to nestle down into bed.
You're watching Netflix later, Frank. Okay, signature dish time. Eddie and I, we're banging on your door, and we are famished. What are you going to cook us?
The one dish I do vegetarian, which I would say I do pretty well, is the Thai green curry.
Oh, one of my faves.
Nice. Yeah.
Sensational.
So nice. I could do a decent veggie type in curry for you there.
Okay, we'll go and do our intervals. I'm not doing extras, even if you can't run. We'll come back. We'll just check on Frank. All's well. And then you can just give me a quick bit of elbow poking in my glutes, and then it's like
let's go.
Eddie was horrified the other week. I said I put ketchup with gravy on the same plate. Fun times or sad times, Alex? What do you reckon? Are we allowed to do that?
It's a bit blasphemous, isn't it?
Maybe that's just
it's a bit rude, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what were you eating?
Yeah, what were you eating?
I think it was a toe in the hole. I think that was
okay, like because of sausage, I can sort of see.
I was going to say sausage and mash. I'd probably give you a pass, something like that. So yeah, with a roast dinner, you'd be evacuated from my house.
I had
there's no ketchup on a roast dinner.
I had pesto pasta with fish fingers with ketchup yesterday. Boys' tea. Me and George were home together.
Wow, I had that when I was 12.
Oh, do it again tonight. It was sensational.
Alex.
Okay, favourite TV pleasure. You and Frank on the sofa. What's going on Netflix?
I'm working my way because TV for me is just switch off time. I don't really enjoy it.
We're not looking for educate. I'm with you there, Alex.
No, it's just trash, just switch off. So what I've done, I've gone on Disney Plus. I watched the Omen trilogy.
Okay.
Classic.
Frank and I have touched out. No,
Yeah.
we're not watching that.
And now what I do is I just go in there and goes, people also watch this. I go, okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm just working my way through every horror movie on Disney Plus at the minute.
Oh, this isn't good for your hallucinations. This explains a lot of the terrifying things. You need to. I'll send you a list of better things to watch. That you can
Have
really
you watched the? It's
no.
quite a new film. I don't know what year it is, but it's basically before The Omen. I think it's when Damien.
Oh yeah.
No, we don't have these sort of discussions.
Omen.
No, stop
That's
it.
it.
Whatever you're going to say, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
The last thing you think about tonight, Eddie, is The Omen.
Yeah.
I don't even know anything about it, and I don't want to know anything about it.
Okay, every week we share the podcast over on Instagram, Facebook, and probably a few other places. But we're going to put a song to it. Alex, you get to choose the Instagram story music. What's it going to be?
I thought about this, and I think there's one song which always, like 3 a.m. when you're on the trails, always picks me up, and it's always I quite like it because I kind of think, being down in a dark place is actually quite familiar and attractive, and there is a lot of staying in that space. And it takes a bit of courage to move out of it. Moving On Up by Primal Scream always picks me up when I hear that. It's just a good message. You can either just sit where you are, or you can push yourself onwards and upwards.
Yeah, that's a perfect song. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Gary, haven't we been blessed? Our last 2 interviews have been truly
Laughed, cried.
What a story. I'm sorry that we didn't get all the story, but
That's okay.
there's always more. And the flavour of Alex we got was incredible. Good luck with your future endeavours. Keep in touch. We'll read out your next Tales from the Trails and be equally horrified. And what's the word when you really admire somebody that you're like full of admiration? Just
admiration.
In awe. We're in awe.
In awe.
We're in awe of you.
You're too kind.
No, not at all. And I'll think of me. We'll tread the same path, but not at the same
best
time.
of luck.
But
Best
we'll
of luck.
sprinkle me some happy hallucinations because I'll be off my rocker by the time I'm heading up St. Swithin's Way.
Excellent. Thanks for your time today, Alex.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for
Best of
having me on,
luck for
guys.
2025. Bye.
Thank you.
care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Absolutely incredible. If you can afford to and you would like to, then you can still make a donation to Julia's House Hospice. We'll pop a link in the show notes. Thanks, SHOKZ, for sponsoring our Strava Club and the Tales from the Trails section. Listeners can get, not just Patreons, all listeners can get £10 off over at uk.shokz.com with the code TEA10, all caps, and the number 10. I've done a couple of SHOKZ reviews in the past, the Open Run Pro and the Open Fit. Both were awesome. And I must admit, I was a little bit gutted. I can't remember what happened to them. I may have just done like a Patreon giveaway. But anyway, I don't have them
You
anymore.
probably just handed them to someone in the street. You are just a selfless.
But yeah, super fortunate when SHOKZ reached out, and we are testing out the Open Run Pro 2 and the Open Fit Air at the moment. Thumbs up so far, and I am using these Open Fit Air a lot. First up now, Strava Club is Adrian Bussolini. It's all going on. Rowing, hill workout, weighted treadmill, weighted stair stepper, 4 times 15 minutes. Oomph.
Oh, I love that. Was that on the stair stepper or was that on the treadmill?
Oh, I can't remember actually. I should have
Love the
copied
sound
and
of
pasted
that,
that. I wonder what
Adrian.
the effort. That's 60 minutes of graft, basically.
Yeah,
Medium long
baby.
run,
Yeah.
and a long run too. Some sensational looking cinnamon buns. 2 for 1 on the buns too. That a result. What you go to, sweet? I know, you're not really a sweet person, are you?
No. What, like post-run sweet thing?
Oh, I'd be all over a cinnamon bun.
Yeah, I do like a cinnamon bun. When I went to the Wild Heart Runners, we had like these vegan cinnamon buns, and Debs and I ate 2 because they were incredible. I like a muffin. I'd probably go for like a blueberry oat muffin sort of girl, maybe. Nothing chocolate, not post-session, not chocolate post-session. Chocolates to eat at the fridge just before you go to bed, remember?
Anyway, Adrian, 75.2 miles for the week with the longest run of 19 miles and 4,245 feet of vert. Next up, Michelle Young, race wig. So yeah, taper wig, Tweed Valley Ultra 65k. Second female V50 and 6th female overall. crushing it, Michelle. 67.4 miles with the longest run of 41.3. 5,745 feet of vert. Hannah Badsley. Do you remember Hannah?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, Run to the Hills listeners will remember who Hannah is. Eddie Coach. Lakeland 50, I'm pretty sure Hannah did that year. And this week she completed the Rangers Ultra Day 1 and Day 2. So that's 32 miles on Day 1. 27.5 on Day 2. Tired legs. My goodness, I bet you Hannah had tired legs. It's a cracking event. I did it before. And I remember when I did it, there was some people there all in full spine kits. So I think like the GOAT, like To the Hell Velen, people use it as a training run for the winter spine. 62.3 miles for the week. Longest run, 31.9. Whoosh, 10,974 feet of vert for Hannah. Awesome going there. Heavy flex evolved. I cringed a bit last week. I felt like ended up being this like Hollywood handshake. I cringe when he does it on the program, but at least he's got some skills to back it up. So I thought we'll put the heavy flexing over to you, and you email in basically if you think somebody you know deserves a heavy flex, or maybe you think you deserve a heavy flex. Can't promise we'll read them all out, but we'll do our best. And as usual, email into hello@teaandtrails.com. We put heavy flex in the subject section.
Gary, you're incredible. That email inbox is going to be a plethora of heavy flexes.
There's been a few heavy flexes come in already.
Hit me, baby.
First up, huge shout out to my amazing husband, Paul Musgrove, who managed over 95 miles on the escape from Meridian last week. I love this race. You know, you've got 24 hours to go as far as you can, and you make
Would you get
the route
scared?
up.
Would you get scared?
No.
Because I just imagine someone was chasing me and I've got to get as far away.
Look, you've got to do so much planning for this. If you're competitive, because your route choice could significantly alter how far you could go. But yeah, sensational. 95 miles. Next up, Cassia. Probably not a heavy flex, but I just ran my second ultra ever today. It was a 66.
Right, that is a heavy flex.
Yeah, 100%. 66.4k. Another runner doing the Tweed Valley Ultra. And she's very proud of herself, yeah. Oh, also wore Tea and Trails snood. Last one this week. John Pollard, to be egocentric and shout out myself.
Yeah. By the way, we love it. Send it. You don't think I can't send in my heavy flex because Gary and Eddie will judge. Oh, no, we won't. We will love it. We are here for you. So send in what you've done. Come on, John. Shout out to yourself.
Shout out to myself. I could ask a pal to do it, but I'm being honest. Many friends and colleagues have told me my completion of last week's 39-mile Penlyn Winter Ultra was a legendary affair. Apart from my 71 years of age, I was partying on red wine the night before and had only 3 hours of sleep.
John, you haven't learned, have you? You never learned. We've all got a little bit more sensible age. Not John. Oh, no, he's up with his maracas and his red wine.
Getting all disgracefully. I reckon it's a new training regime for me. Anyway, if I need a testimonial, contact Duncan Worth, who ran part of it with me. No need to fact check or the testimonial. We believe you, John.
Are you ready, Gary? Are you ready for this? There you go. That's my voice. Are you ready?
Why didn't you do it?
Are you ready for the hard review? Ooh, ooh. That sounds like I'm introducing a dance track.
That's BBC Two, that is. I'm Blaze TV, you're BBC Two.
There is that difference in us. I'm more Radio 4. You're more sort of like hits FM, I'd say. Capital. Let's have one. Let's pick one. I'm just going to scroll and best running podcast. Goes without saying. Gary and Eddie are the perfect combination for conveying the passion that we have for our love of running through the trails. From short training runs to epic ultras, they provide the fun, the laugh and knowledge that make this podcast so enjoyable. I always look forward to... Bless you. I always look forward to each episode and guests. It's motivational, informative, and inspiring. By far, the best podcast. I think they even surprise themselves how good this stuff is. That's from James H. Star via Apple Podcast. We don't surprise ourselves, James. Let's be honest. It's sensational, but we still don't believe that anybody listens. We love your reviews. Really does help the podcast grow, and it just brightens up our day a little bit, because sometimes we get bogged down a little bit on one negative comment, and yet there are millions of positive comments, and we're all like that. So just pop over to iTunes or Spotify and leave us a 5-star review, and we will read it out. You might have to listen to a few episodes, but it will get there.
And you've noticed 2 weeks now, no Tales from the Trails. The cupboards are bare. Surely.
Surely. Now, the
been
cupboards
happening
are
out
full
on the
of brew with the coaches, heavy flexors. So what is this saying? People are being well behaved. Don't believe it for a second. People are busy. Might be that. Run up to Christmas.
There must be a mate you want to throw under a bus. Come on.
Come on, do it. We can change the names to Gary and Eddie from
Yeah.
Sue to Chris. You know, we can change anything you need us to change. But let's have some filthy day stories because we love it like that, don't we, Gary? You have the wonderful job this week of letting the
bake
winners
off.
know who they are.
Yeah, our 13 Valleys competition is over, and thank you so much for everybody who shared some lovely pictures. And I just popped the names of everybody who shared the competition. Don't want to be judgy, but the numbers didn't marry up. Anyway, we've got 2 winners, Robert Harris and Jackie Royce. I wonder what distance they're going to go for. Let us know.
Let us know.
The quote from Robert's post: "Will be a fun weekend." I hope so, Robert. Congratulations. And I wonder, like I say, I wonder what distance they go for. And I wonder after the race, on reflection, if it is a fun weekend. Email in, Robert. I'll try and reach out to you too, but fingers crossed we can both get together and I will connect you with the team over at 13 Valleys. Thanks, everybody.
Got a new competition. Phoenix Light providing the prizes. Thank you, Phoenix Light. This is the head torch. 8 out of 10 of us were wearing on the Pennine Way recce last weekend. Awesome bit of kit. You and a friend could win an HM65R/T head torch to help light up those winter trails. We love this. Gary and I both love this bit of kit. And you can purchase rechargeable batteries too. And your event often, I don't think there's any mandatory kit that doesn't ask you to carry a spare battery. And it also comes with a spare battery as well. This is what you need to do. Again, super simple. Be part of the Tea and Trails Facebook group. Share the pin competition post. You might have to check out your privacy settings. Sometimes we can't see everyone who has shared the post. I don't know anything about that. That sounds mega complicated to me, but hopefully other people will. Thirdly, in the comments, pop a picture of you, your trail buddy, your dogs, yourself, anybody you want to. Theme of the picture we would like to be is light. So you can interpret that in any way you like. There's no rules. It can be sunrise, it can be sunset, it can be running with a head torch, it can be running in the dark, it can be running in light. It can just be a picture with lovely light. There's no right or wrong question. We just really
Hit me
enjoy
up
all
with
your
your Brocken
pictures.
Spectres. I love pictures of that.
Yeah, so we'll pick 2 winners at random on the 16th of December. Oh, the 16th of December, a few days after the Winter 200. You betcha I'll be picking those winners. It's like, I think I can open my eyes. Kudos and thank you to Phoenix Light for supporting our competition. What's coming up? We want
It's
the
none of your
world
business.
to know. Don't you let us know. Ooh, ooh. We have not written what's coming up. How am I to know? How am I to copy and paste and put in my diary? You've got 2 things. You've got the most dull week ever known to man.
Just
You
to
must have other
repeat.
stuff. You're not just...
Just to repeat it. No,
keeping
well,
stuff
Lisa's
from me.
away. So it's George. We're home alone, me and my son.
Oh, Lord, that's when Burning Girls is coming on. What time?
Watching,
Minute he gets
Mike-
back from school, are you like, baked tray goods, Burning
Yeah,
Girls?
after we finish there, I'm going to take Rex for a run, get back, microwave meals, and horror.
I'm on my way.
Tea and Trails Ultra Recce, that's going to be midweek Thursday.
Have you seen the weather, Gary?
Oh my goodness me. And your geography, you're saying about Kendal. I'm not going to Kendal, Eddie. I
I don't even know what we're doing. You need to send me the GPX. Where are we going?
Yeah.
Where are we better not discuss this over the podcast, but we do perhaps. It does look snowy. I looked up high.
If it's too spicy, we just do. There's loads of lovely trails.
Should we just go to a cafe?
Yeah, cinnamon buns. There's a lovely cafe in Threlkeld. A repeat of last week, slightly increasing it. So we'll have a big long run. Wow, it's going to be 50k-ish if all goes to plan. And then I'll put my workout at the weekend. And because I'm not getting the DOMs, I know. I'm not getting the DOMs.
I'm going to do my
frightened.
workout on Wednesday, Gary. Just because, I just need to be tired because otherwise it'll be painfully slow for me, won't it, with you and Shane? So I just need to be tired. Stack those bricks. I've got to do a bit more. I have got some pretty heavy weights to lift in once I've got the kids. I tell you what, going out to the cold garage, at about 6:30 to deadlift is not I need some tones on for that. Not my favourite time. But it's fine once I'm there. It's just the initial step outside. I'm going to have a big week. Yeah, I will do a workout. I will do a long run with you. Brilliant. God, I love it when the admin of the long run, for me, I don't have to fit it in because I'm just going to drive down, meet up with you, chit chat. Miles will pass. I did contemplate bringing Lindy, and then I thought, no, nobody needs that. Nobody needs that. Let's have a... I know, but yeah, anyway, I won't. But I will have to wear my full pack because I've just got to harden this back off a bit. So I need to have a good week, early bed. It's really hard when you've got teenage children when you want to go to bed at 8:00 and they're all awake and they're not really wanting to go to bed till like 10. And you just have to go, right, I'm going to bed. And they come up to say goodnight to you.
Oh, no, what age it is when the time shifts between who goes to bed first. Because, yeah, obviously, oh, goodness me, like George, every night he's up later than us.
But there's just their body clock, isn't it? Like I literally pretty much by 6:30, Gary, I'm done for the day. There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot going on anyway, but there's less. But the teenagers seem to like come, they're really tired. And then about 6:30, 7, they're like, can I go and do that? It's the middle of the night. No. Yes, so we are meeting up to Recce Route. We haven't said much about it. We've just sort of sprinkled it in the podcast and we will sprinkle it in heavily next week, I think, a little bit more. And then after that, I'm staying down in Kendal. I put myself quite a nice little place, Gary. Oh. I've not gone youth hostel. I've got myself a little room.
You've changed.
No, I've never changed. I'm always treating myself. A night away and I'm going to have done my long run. So I thought I'm going to go back to somewhere where there's a kettle, there's milk, there's tea bags, and I can sit on the bed, watch TV and do some work. And then the next day, Sophie, I and Shane are talking at the Adventure Sports Conference, which is run by Ria Events and James Thurlow, who's been on the podcast. And Shane is presenting a paper that he wrote about safeguarding in trail running, especially safeguarding women, and I had quite a bit of an input into it. Sophie Power had quite a bit of an input into it, and so we're doing a sort of Q&A and presenting that paper. So that's really exciting, really proud to be part of that as well. So it's a busy week, but it's a fun week ahead as well. And I get to see you.
You're going to come in hot.
You betcha. Straight
we need a HR intimacy coach.
No, we have to, like, in Strictly now, they have to have the production team with them all the time so that the professionals can't do the dirt. So we actually do need a producer with us at all times because...
Well, I need to ask you, I really didn't fancy doing the deadlifts, so I've moved away from that. I bought these, you're going to think I'm such a sad case. I bought these, they're called bear grips.
No, they're great. They're good.
I couldn't keep hold of the bars. My little hands are so weak.
When you have little soft hands, then you need those. I think that's good if it means you can hold the weight, Gary.
I've moved away from the trap bar because it was just too much faff. So now I do the reverse lunges. Well, that was a different exercise, but instead of the trap bar, I don't know what it's called, kind of like a reverse sit-up. Only
yes, I know what you mean. It's a back extension sort of thing.
Basically, yes, because I think without the deadlift, I'm probably missing back exercise. And there's a bit less friction between me doing the actual exercise if I do this back extension. So that's what I've swapped my deadlifts out for.
Okay.
Is that okay? Judgy, not so sure.
I'm not entirely sure that you're working the same. Let's just say, if you're working for you, Gary, let's leave it at that.
Yeah,
and say,
it's a pivot. I liked it. It was a pivot.
Yeah, do something
push,
different.
Pivot,
You've done it. Push, pivot. And also, it's always good to do different exercises, target different weaknesses.
Well, I did it. It was only me that used the trap bar. And it wasn't one of those cheaty trap bars where you've got the high handles.
Is it quite heavy too?
Oh, it's just all behind the machine. It's like literally...
I know. Getting it out often is the biggest faff, and then everyone's
they're
around
like 25 kilos. Just getting...
So heavy. I hear you. Yeah, do what works. Always do what works.
Yeah, and we've got a new machine. It's a seated calf raise. And I think that does work a different part of the...
Yeah,
yes.
A bit more Soleil's target,
yes,
I bet, as
yes,
well.
Yes,
nice. Love that. You can pile the weights onto that.
Yeah,
Oof.
Fun times.
Fun times.
Thanks for tuning in, and thank you so much for sticking with us the bit to end. Got a favour to ask. Blown away.
Me?
Did you see over on Facebook? We've got 9,000, just over 9,000 people in our Facebook group. Literally, I can't believe all these people who've supported us. It's super awesome, but what would be even more awesome...
Never satisfied, are you? No, I would be satisfied with like 500 people, but you always want more.
But imagine if we could have 10,000.
Imagine. What would it mean? Group. What would it mean to you?
It's funny, isn't it? I remember YouTube subscribers. I'd hit 1,000. I thought my life's going to be complete. No, it was just a number. Moved on to the next. But anyway, take up.
Anyway.
Ignore all that. I really want 10,000 people in the group. And you could be instrumental in this because if all 9,000 of you share, we make such a terrible job of this.
Jeez.
If all 9,000 people share the Tea and Trails Facebook group with your mates, then I'm sure we'll hit that milestone before 2020.
If we hit it, you'll release, which you've shot, you've just not released it, your Red Shorts calendar.
One
a different farming machinery.
What could we do, or could I do?
Don't make promises, because also it's starting to make me feel a little bit nauseous.
Thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration, SHOKZ, X Miles, Beta Run and Protein Rebel for sponsoring this week's show. Remember those new customer discount codes: T10 for SHOKZ, T15 for Protein Rebel and T24 for Precision Fuel and Hydration. Thanks to our partners and patrons too. We couldn't do this without you and your ongoing support.
We got a lovely email from the author of Let the Trail Rise Up to Meet You, and the wind always be on your back this week. So we're thinking of you. Let the trail rise up to meet you, and the wind always be on your back. Be kind to your future self, breathe and believe, and progress, not perfection. My name is Eddie Sutton.
And my name is Gary Thwaites.
And that was episode 97 of the Tea and Trails podcast.